The Rise of Skywalker is bad. That's the podcast.
Whoa!
See you next time.
We are doing.
Oh, you got to do
Star
the,
Wars.
You got to do the.
We're doing.
Okay, here we're
doing
gonna test your editing. You ready? You got to put it behind your back. And then it's gonna appear behind mine.
Oh my god!
Ready? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh my god! I don't.
You got to test your editing.
It's not gonna be me. It's gonna be.
This is gonna look so bad.
Okay, so
if that
if
looks
you
cool,
haven't,
you're welcome.
yeah, if you haven't figured out what we're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about, okay, it's by far, in my opinion, the absolute worst Star Wars movie I've ever seen, and I love Star Wars. But I mean, let me intro first. Welcome back to Full Time Movie Fans. We love movies. If you're here, you love movies too.
Well,
you love talking about movies.
Yeah, we love them except for one right now.
Yes, we love them, which is why you're about to hear everything you're about to hear. We love them so much. We have a strong passion for movies. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I think we needed to just get out a little frustration from our lives, and so we're like, let's do a movie that's kind of we both have a consensus. We don't like it, and the immediate first thought I had was Rise of Skywalker. Now here's the thing. I think I want to keep. I generally want to keep most of our. One thing I don't like is movie YouTube channels that just poop on everything. Like everything is crap. Everything's no good.
Everything wrong with.
Yeah, there's nothing good about this movie. It's so cool to hate on every movie. I don't want our stuff to be like that. And I want to be open to everybody. So like if you want to comment on this channel, I'm sure this one might get, because Star Wars is such a beloved franchise, I think there's going to be some emotions involved. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. I want to be open to everybody, especially people who have different opinion than me. But I will say, to be honest with you, if you like this movie, I want to hear why, but also I don't understand you and you're wrong because it's the worst Star Wars movie I've ever seen in my entire life. The fact that I had to rewatch it again so that we could do this, literally I was like, man, I feel like I'd rather be, I don't know, anywhere else. Like
Scooping your eyes out with a spoon. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not, it's not good. But anyways, let me just say like the whole like episode 7 through 9, it's kind of like,
It's meh.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. Well, people say that that The Force Awakens is basically A New Hope.
Which it's hard to deny that.
Rian
When you
Johnson
go beat
himself
for
said
beat.
that, yeah.
Yeah, beat for beat, plot line for plot line, it's almost an exact. So it makes sense that when I first watched it, I was like, oh, I really liked it. Well, because I was watching A New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. With new characters, new visuals, it's super cool. The most controversial, I think, is The Last Jedi, which we were talking about it before we started.
It's the best of the three.
To be honest, I loved it. A lot of people hated it.
I remember hating it too when I watched it. I was like, what the fuck? I wanted Star Wars. And then I thought about it longer and I was like, actually I got it.
Yeah, when you think
I got a lot of it.
Yeah, because I went in with the same expectations. I think it's an expectational thing is
right.
You expect to learn about Snoke. You expect to learn about Rey. But I think what a lot of people forgot is that it's the second out of 3 movies and there's still time to get those answers. It didn't have to be answered in the second of the movie of the trilogy.
We didn't get the answers, but...
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to talk about today because JJ, I know you have some stuff to talk about. We'll get into that.
I do.
I will say JJ was given a great opportunity to... here's what I think happened, and I think maybe you know some more backstory you're going to tell us, but here's what I think happened without knowing any of the backstory is I think that he kind of heard the internet, he heard what people were saying about The Last Jedi, and he was like, okay, they didn't like that. I'm going to give them everything they want. But the thing is, there's a fine line when it comes to fan service and when it comes to fans and movies. Like, I'll give you a good example. A good example for, in my opinion, one of the best examples in recent memory is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie's fan service. You've got Toby, you've got Andrew.
Yeah,
like,
but it was fun.
Dude, but it
and it made sense.
Dude, what's his name? Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin, saying,
Welcome back.
I'm something of a scientist myself. Like, there was a few times where it was on the line and it could have tipped over into the bad, but it never did. Like, it towed the line of like, not enough, perfect, and like, okay, that's too much fan service that doesn't benefit anything, doesn't do anything. And you can tell it's just placating.
Yeah.
That movie was perfect. I laughed, I cried, I felt like it was near perfect. I don't fault it for the nostalgia because that's the point, is the nostalgia. But it also added so much more to the Andrew's films and Toby's films, because seeing this and seeing how they interact with each other, it really just helped complete their movies. Like, really,
they are Spider-Man. Yeah.
And it helped complete their movies and you thought that the movie was over and you're like, okay, well, I'll never see these guys. This put a bow on both Andrew's and Toby's movies.
Yeah.
It may have revived Andrew, maybe doing another Spider-Man, maybe.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
He's really good.
I really liked it. I think a lot of people started to appreciate him.
Yeah.
Because everybody was dumping on his movies, but after this, it's like, he was one of the best parts, if you ask me, of No Way Home.
I never saw the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And watching No Way Home, I was like, damn, this guy's a good Spider-Man.
Dude, he is, as an actor, he's one of the best actors. Like, he's just so good. To me, him and Willem Dafoe, to me, they stole the movie. Anyways, this is not a No Way Home movie or episode podcast. I think we'll do one of those. But
I can give a kudos to The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, let's get. We'll do a kudos. You give a kudos.
The best thing to come out of the Rise of Skywalker is that it is undoubtedly the one Star Wars movie that has had the most emotional reaction.
There you have it. There you have it.
Your face said everything too. Your face said everything as soon as I said it. You're like, yeah, it did.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So like, No Way Home is good fan service. What Rise of Skywalker is the worst fan service, because what happened? People didn't like. Forgive me so much. They didn't like the Asian girl.
Oh yeah,
I forget her name.
I love her.
Me. She's so great, and like even her character was great in Last Jedi.
I'm gonna find it.
They took her out, side of Star Wars. Yes, they didn't like. People were complaining about her. Blah blah blah. They bullied the poor girl online. She got depressed, and so JJ was like, "Okay, they don't like her. We're gonna cut anything that has to do with her out." So she had minimal role. What was one of the other things? Chewie got a medal. That was something from a long time ago. People
Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah.
Rose.
Oh, yes. Rose, you're great. I'm sorry. We love you over here. Sorry for the toxic Star Wars fans. And then Chewie got a medal, which, did anybody really care about that? I don't know, but I
also saw things online when they were like, I hope it's chocolate metal because that fucker did nothing but get caught.
Dude, I mean, was that really important? Okay, he gave us Knights of Ren, but for what? What did they do? They literally looked at, like, there's shots of them looking around at the scenery.
They're basically the goth kids from South Park.
and then their coolest member claps them all at the end. Like they all get. I mean, so these guys are supposed to be pretty scary, and you made them look like just normal stormtroopers.
Yeah,
like so
massive chumps.
What else? What else was from the fan service? Oh my gosh, we'll talk more about this. The kiss between Rey and Kylo. Worst part of. Any Star Wars movie I've ever seen. And I would have rather seen Luke and Leia make out with tongue than watch Rey and Kylo kiss once.
I agree.
Even
There's
a little
no
peck on the
chemistry
mouth.
there. There was no chemistry at all.
There was nothing that led up to them being romantic with each other.
Besides them both like staring at each other through Force visions and being like,
okay, my only defense for them having any kind of romance is Daddy Kylo with the shirt off. I admit
but they didn't even play into that enough.
I know.
They had the moment where she was like,
Adam Driver, you're all right. You're a good looking man.
I do love me some Adam Driver.
Yes, he's so good, and he's also grown so much as an actor.
My God, Marriage Story. Oh my God, it's so
good. We'll do that one.
I love Marriage Story.
We'll review
that. Ruined my life.
Oh no, it was tough. Bro.
It was a tough movie,
but not as tough as watching The Rise of Skywalker because it was so freaking bad.
All right, so let me
get into it.
Let me give you a little bit of the
Backstory.
sausage. And it's more actually I'll be. This one's not as kind as seeing how the sausage is made. This is just a hot dog factory at this point.
Yeah,
right? They're grinding up parts you don't want to know where in your mouth. So, J.J. Abrams. I believe this is the timeline of how things happened. Disney bought Star Wars from Lucasfilm, and
yep, they did that.
And
sure.
JJ basically walked up and said, I will produce this. I will produce this. It will be a product of my own thing. I mean, look at me. I made Lost. I know what
Star
good
Trek.
looks.
Star Trek.
And Star Trek.
Very close. They compare
Star. They both have Star in the name.
And they're both in space.
And Disney said, yeah, people know who J.J. Abrams is. Yeah, go for it. And so JJ outlined a 3-movie trilogy, a trilogy, with these new characters that refer to old things, the fan servicey things. And the plan is that JJ was going to direct the first one. They were going to get a newer director to make and direct the second one using the outline that JJ made. Mm-hmm. And then another new director was going to complete the trilogy with the last installment.
Yeah.
What happened is that JJ made the first one. They gave it to Rian Johnson, which was a great move.
Great.
Rian looked at the outline and went, "This shit sucks. I'm going to do it my way," and see how the third director plays off of what I give them, and set it up wonderfully for something really cool to happen. And then JJ said, actually, I don't like anything that you did and that you didn't follow my direction, so I'm going to just pull everything back and push it back to what I want. Which you can feel very, very easily. You can feel that. Dude, from the opening scroll, the Palpatine's back, and you're like, oh, okay. Palpatine's back, I guess.
Yeah, I told you that. My buddy Clint, hopefully Clint will be on the podcast at some point. But he told me he literally laughed, and he automatically felt dread as soon as he saw that scroll. He was like, "Oh no,
it was pretty
bad." It was the dead speak. That's the thing that he laughed at.
The dead speak.
And then when he mentioned Palpatine, he was like, "Oh no," and he knew it was going to be bad from that point. But yeah, literally, first 5-10 minutes, it's just undoing everything from The Last Jedi.
Yeah, and JJ has a very particular style. JJ's style of directing, and he talks about it a lot, especially with, I believe it was Cloverfield. He talks about, no, it was Star Trek. It was a Star Trek interview that he was doing. And his style of directing is what he calls the mystery box, right? It is, in my opinion, a great way to keep people's attention and a terrible way to keep tension and stakes in a movie. The way the mystery box works is you present
what's in the
idea.
Box.
Yeah, you present an idea to the audience, and you hype this idea up. You go, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? And eventually you open up the box and you tell them, but in telling them you have another box show up. It's a Russian nesting doll of information. And so you get little pieces, and they keep on falling into place with each other until you finally get your big climactic ending. But the way that it reads on paper for this movie is, what's in the box? It's another thing. How are we going to get out of this? Well, good thing I know a friend. Open up the box. Oh, finally, we got this thing. But now this problem's here. And they go, oh, but don't worry, because it's solved by this thing. And they just keep on peeling back layers of fucking gross cake.
Well, that's the biggest thing is there's no stakes, there's no tension, because every problem, like you said, that shows up, it's immediately solved.
Yep.
Immediately.
Chewie gets kidnapped. Ray accidentally destroys the ship.
Bro,
next scene.
Let me say,
Chewie's fine.
Well, let's say, she literally killed him. That is huge.
I remember being there and I was like, oh fuck, here we go. It's starting. The movie's starting now.
Huge dread, huge regret. Something that could literally change
the character.
Yes. Give her some development and be like, whoa, I need to learn how to control this stuff, because I could literally I have the power to kill people.
Yeah.
And that is something that could dramatically give a character some development or trauma or something that she has to deal with.
Yep.
Like, let's say she's in other situations and her friends are close by and she's like, I need to kill this guy in front of me, or I need to fight this guy, but my friends are too close. I cannot go full power, or whatever. Like, it could be anything, but literally Oh, hey, look who we caught in the next scene. We caught somebody very important. It's Chewbacca.
Yeah.
There was another transport. Like, okay.
Yeah.
C-3PO.
Didn't even need it. Because later on they go, oh, Chewbacca's alive. You could have waited. You could have even waited to have the, like, just let her sit with it for a little bit.
Oh, it could have been a crazy reveal later on. Like, you know what I mean? Like...
or the, oh, nobody speaks this language anymore, and C-3PO going, I do.
But I can't.
But I'm not gonna.
Well, he's like, but I can't. And then someone's like, oh, but let me try this thing. And sure enough, now he can translate it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
It's...
I will say Babu Frick is...
cheap.
Yeah, Babu Frick is pretty awesome. He's amazing.
I do like Babu Frick.
One of the best, new characters ever.
I do like Babu Frick.
But it's also just so hand-wavy, like, oh, we fixed this problem with this.
Yeah.
Oh, we fixed this problem with it. So there's no tension, there's no stakes.
Well, I mean, even the stakes don't make sense because you have Palpatine who's just there to do what? And eventually we get to see, well, it's like towards the beginning of the movie, we get to see Kylo approaching him and being like, hi, I would like everything. And they go, yeah, I can provide you with everything. That's fine. And then you just see like a fleet of moving Death Stars.
Yeah.
Essentially. That came from where? Who's manning these ships if he's the only one there? How did he get the equipment to do this? How long has he been gone? Who knows? We don't... All we know is that the dead speaks and apparently is a very good engineer.
Bro, so speaking of steaks, imagine... Now, look, I love everybody, whether you're a vegan, vegetarian or not. But speaking of steaks, you're going to your favorite steakhouse.
Yeah.
Right? You order a big ribeye. Mm-hmm. What comes out to the table is a cauliflower steak.
Yeah.
How disappointed are you?
Extremely.
That is how I feel about the rest. There's no steak. It's cauliflower. There's no steaks. Where are the steaks?
Well, it's not even that. It's all side dishes.
Now, if you love cauliflower steaks, I do too. I love cauliflower, to be honest with you. But at the same time, when I'm expecting a nice ribeye, medium rare, like that's what I want. And there are no steaks in this movie. It promised steak, and it gave you like cabbage, or it gave you.
I feel like adding on to your allegory here, this movie was you went in, you ordered this big expensive ribeye, and the waiter just keeps coming out with side dishes. And anytime you ask about when your steak's coming out, he goes, "Oh, don't worry, I brought mashed potatoes." You go, "Okay, yeah, this is okay. Can I get the steak?" And they go, "Mac and cheese?"
Well, hey, look, mashed potato. So can we talk about this? Okay, so I love food, so it's so funny that this is an allegory because it fits so well.
It does.
So even using yours. So here's mashed potatoes. Love mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Freaking knock down some mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes, I really loved. I think one of the scenes that I really liked was super cool. Kylo catching up to Rey in his starfighter. She does that crazy jump.
Yeah, cool.
Cuts it off. Mm-hmm. Mashed potatoes. Mm-hmm. Rey uses force lightning randomly.
Also cool.
Mac and cheese, great. I love it.
Palpatine with that.
Oh, at the end when he like uses force lightning to like attack everybody.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, I love the
big scary man.
Give me the fried onion rings. Like I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great.
But then it's like, okay, but where's the main course? It never shows up. Like,
and then the waiter shows up at the end and kisses you on the lips and goes, "How was the meal?"
You're like, first off, I don't know you like that. Second off, your mouth is all greasy. I don't know why do you taste like that, bro? And then third off, sorry, I don't swing that way. And that was exactly.
And that's what that kiss was.
That's exactly what that kiss was. Like respect, but also like that's not for me.
This is the best allegory we could have ever come up with for this movie.
And we did not plan that out. But I gotta say, it is just like that. I mean, what's the expectations are so high. I think they were so much lower because a lot of people didn't like The Last Jedi. I mean, I think it was kind of like that for the episodes 1 through 3 too, because it was like, I remember it being cool and everybody loved it, but then after a while I was just like, not that great.
Yeah, it's all politics and talking really.
There has been nothing in the history of movies, Star Wars movies, that have made episode 1 through 3 more endearing to me in my heart than episode 7 through 9.
I was gonna say, I remember people talking so much shit about the prequels until this trilogy came out, and they were like, actually, the prequels.
Yeah, let me rewatch that.
I like the prequels. Jar Jar Binks, lovable. We
sand,
love
yeah,
that,
I do. Me too. I don't like sand either. Like, man, have you ever been to the beach and you got sand in your freaking car for years?
God,
like,
if there's anything I love more than Earth politics, it's space politics.
If I had to choose, I mean,
it's pretty good.
But dude, yeah, seriously, I was literally talking to a friend of mine, and she's kind of into movies, but like not like we are.
Yeah.
But she had never seen Star Wars, and I said, okay, I recommend just watch 4, 5, and 6, and then watch 1, 2, and 3. And then you're done. I said, and then you're done.
Don't do it.
Don't even watch anything after that.
It's done.
I was like, you're good. Like, just leave it at that. Even 1 through 3 has some weird stuff, midi-chlorians and just other weird stuff that don't make sense.
Don't think about it too hard.
Don't think about it too hard, and then just stop after episode 3. And then you're good. And just leave it like that. But
you could watch Rogue One or Mandalorian. Those are
okay. Don't watch Solo.
But any more mainline ones, don't do it, or Solo. Yeah.
We're gonna do at some point. We're gonna do all of these, and I guess once we get them all together, we can make a Star Wars playlist, so you can just watch through the Star Wars stuff. But but when it comes to the Rise of Skywalker, I don't think I've ever been like. It's hard to remember another movie that I watched in theaters that I was so disappointed in when I left. It's hard to remember being that disappointed. I think one of John Cena's earliest movies, The Marine. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Oh God, no, I haven't. I have heard terrible things. That and it's the one with Scorpion, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
That's
what was that one with Nick Cage and the bees?
Oh God.
The bees, and he's screaming with the bees on his head.
Yeah.
That one was also, I was like, what the? But anyways.
All great movie. Ghost Rider. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Name any other Nick Cage movie.
I love you, Nick Cage. Please come on our podcast sometime.
I love Nick Cage. He is, in my opinion, of all of the actors in Hollywood, I feel like he has the easiest. Because let's be real, he could be at any movie at any time, and nobody gives a fuck. They will pay him. He will do it. He could just be himself the entire time.
Well, he made a whole movie about just being himself. And it was amazing.
It was very self-aware, and it's so good.
Yeah. What's not good, back to the point, is Rise of Skywalker.
Here's a big plot hole that you haven't brought up yet. If Force ghosts can hold objects, why won't they fight?
Yeah. Good point.
There's no
Force
stakes
ghosts,
for them.
Why won't you fight?
Luke was holding a lightsaber, a real lightsaber, as a Force ghost. And
could you imagine if they Lord of the Rings that stuff and all the Force ghosts came out to fight?
You get Endgame. Could you imagine final fight? Yeah, that would have been, if they're gonna do it. I mean, do it. You know.
She said all of the Jedi are in me. I was like, why do they have to be in you? Why can't they just be next to you with a lightsaber?
Why don't they Avatar The Last Airbender? Your ancestors are disappointed in you, and you will suffer the consequences of your actions.
Yeah.
While Palpatine's just staring at all these ghosts, is like, I'm too old. I'm too old for this.
Yeah, I think he's like, I need to retire. I'm tired of fighting the Jedi. They're annoying. But you know, I just got to say, like, to me, the whole movie felt aimless, and it just felt so like. Again, it was just so fan servicing, so focused on just undoing everything The Last Jedi did, that it's just like such a bad. I mean, like, it's very hard to find, like, and a lot of people who hate The Last Jedi, come on, if you hate The Last Jedi, you have to admit that throne room scene fight was freaking amazing. When freaking
part of the movie.
Rey tosses the lightsaber and Kylo catches it and like turns it on into the guy's head, like. Like, I was like, come on, that's freaking so cool.
I do remember being in the movie theater and being disappointed with the movie overall. And I was like, yeah, this scene makes it all worth it.
Sometimes that helps a lot for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a great payoff.
But where was that scene? I guess was it Palpatine doing the lighting? I don't know if there was a scene that was just like, whoa, this is so freaking cool. Like, everything just seemed kind of I mean, the Knights of Ren didn't do
Yeah.
anything cool. I mean,
No.
what's his name? Oscar Isaac's Poe.
Poe, yeah, Poe Dameron.
His girlfriend really didn't get to do anything. Like
No.
she was like, whoa, she was there for a second, like, and then all of a sudden she's gone and don't matter. Like, where'd she go? There's just so much stuff that's like, oh, the Dark Ray.
Yeah,
she has
the,
a
like
vision
12 seconds that they used for the trailer too, with the double lightsaber.
Oh yeah, I was like, whoa! I was like, that's got to be freaking cool. Like, no, nothing happened with that.
Yeah, it's just a vision.
Dude, you know what I would have loved to have seen if they actually like went down that path a little bit. You know what I thought would have been a really cool thing?
What?
The juxtaposition
Oh yeah,
of Rey and Kylo.
Yeah, where they
because
switch.
he's always struggling with the light side, the
Yeah.
pull from the light side. And what if Kylo is the one who had to save Rey from the dark side? You know what I mean? Like, oh, that would have been freaking cool. Like,
So,
but
we,
I don't know.
We can talk about the what I wanted from the third.
Go
one.
for it. Let's do it now.
The thing that made me so pumped about The Last Jedi was that it set up a really good. Okay, so there could be an argument that the prequels are heavily discussing and focusing on the Sith, right? The dark side. And the things that lead people to the dark side and what it's basically the false injustice that lead people to darkness.
I would say even the faults of the Jedi that lead people to the dark side. Yeah.
That the Jedi too are imperfect and unjust.
And I would argue creating their own problem with the Sith.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're because of their, I guess it's like a religion. Their lack of flexibility in their religion.
Yeah.
That they really push, which mirrors real life as well.
It does.
So.
And then you have the original trilogy that focuses on the Jedi, the light side, if you will, and the struggles that they go through to try to keep the balance between the two. And what I was really excited about is The Last Jedi, is that at the end we have Kylo and Rey fighting with each other.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to see a third movie which talks about the balance.
Right.
I would have loved to watch Kylo in his struggle to understand what makes him good.
Yeah.
Also, like, reach out to Rey and go, I know you're suffering too, and it's because we're both right. And the only way that it's going to end is if we both end it.
Yeah.
And have them both have to go through and have Rey try to stop the resistance from fighting and have Kylo take down his empire, essentially, and watch them both in this movie, watch people not understand that they can just stop the suffering from both sides.
Yeah.
And the part of the balance that is the hard part is they both have to kill them. It's if you're not with me, if you're not with me, you're against me.
Yeah. Dude, I would love almost any other movie or outcome than what we got. So
That's
like,
fair.
So like, because I imagine something like that. Like, oh, Rey, she's really struggling with this pull to the dark. Kylo's really struggling with this pull to light. What a cool thing if they switched positions and now Kylo's our man and Rey is the bad guy that we've got. Or they just have a fight to the death and like, man, hopefully, like the good one wins. Maybe there's a change of heart at the last minute. If Rey's being pulled to the dark side, she kills Kylo and she's like, oh crap, what have I done? Like, and then she's like, no, this is also wrong. And like, hey, I'm a good guy again. I don't care. Like almost any idea. I mean, I could go to a middle school and ask a freaking, I don't know what middle school age kids are. 11 years old, 12 years old. Hey, come up with a movie with Star Wars. Have you seen Star Wars? Make them watch Star Wars. Come up with a movie, and I would probably rather watch that kid's idea for for the Rise of Skywalker. To be honest,
I think the CinemaSins joke, the Everything Wrong With series.
Shout out to CinemaSins.
Yeah, I love them. I think the joke that they made was JJ made the first draft of the script and then gave it to a bunch of high school filmmakers to edit.
Bro, you know what I heard? I heard that like there was just. Like Disney really didn't have any idea. They were just like hired somebody and said, "Okay,
they didn't care."
Yeah, go. And that to me is a bad idea, especially when you have a franchise as beloved.
Yeah,
and it's like, I mean, very few movie franchises have made a cultural impact as much as like Star Wars has, like from the moment that it first came out in theaters, it's had such a cultural impact, and it's left such a big cultural mark in the lives of just people like me. Like I grew up watching them, for free on TV when they came on, because they were all made before I was born, but like, or most of them. And so it's like knowing the original trilogy, and then when the next ones came out, I was like, oh crap, I can't believe this is real.
Yeah.
And then I was just so excited. The Force Awakens, I was like, dude, another Star Wars. It's like so exciting.
And that Disney had the thing with the most money in the world has the ability to make whatever they want. Yeah.
Surely. And the thing is it's just like most things in life is you get too greedy and you're gonna end up fumbling the ball. And I think that's what they just saw the money signs. They didn't care how they just needed to put out movies. And I think the Star Wars trilogy, the 7, 8, and 9, as well as movies like Solo, really showed them that like, hey, you can't just print money off of Star Wars crap. We care about it too much, and it needs to be good, or we're not going to want it.
I think there were a lot of missed opportunities and misunderstandings, because I firmly believe that Rian Johnson was like, yeah, we could make a Star Wars movie that would empower more people and would like. Basically what midichlorians did in the prequels was told everybody, hey, actually you will never be a Jedi because you don't have what it takes. And Rian Johnson was trying to give the like, raise a nobody. It doesn't matter where she came from. These kids who have Force abilities, that could be you. Anybody can be a hero. Anybody can be a hero.
It's in you to make a change.
What is a more marketable thing than literally any of you can be a hero? And on the same terms, my idea of you talk about more of the balance. Cool. White lightsabers are a thing now. They're the balance. Go sell those. I'd buy 7 of them,
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Well, hey, let's not forget about the dark sabers too, okay? Black lightsabers.
I love the dark sabers. They're so cool.
Not just white lightsabers, okay? We care about all the colored lightsabers.
Have you seen them? They're so cool.
All colored lightsabers matter.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, no, for sure. I think, and isn't there something to be said about, because Rey's lightsaber at the end was yellow. Isn't there something, I forget what
for what purpose?
Color, I forget what the yellow color means, but
I can look it up.
Look it up. But yeah, that being said, it's just kind of like a lot of the stuff that you can tell that it's aimless. There's not like a strong plot. Like, so last week we did, didn't we do Everything Everywhere All at Once? Was our last one that we did?
Yes.
The last video that we recorded. If you haven't seen that one yet, go watch it. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch it first, because it's one of the most amazing movies I've ever seen. In stark contrast to this one, there's no strong like through line, a plot point.
There's nothing
to
for the
ground the movie.
From.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, oh, let's bring back Lando because hey, he's cool and people know him. Like, right? Like that's what I'm saying is the fan service is just like, oh, here's Lando, here's this. There's no consequences. There's no theme. They
even brought back Han.
Oh yeah, that's true.
For like 2 seconds, just be like, hey son. The yellow lightsaber, by the way, end quote. Hold on. Indicates a Jedi Sentinel, a Jedi who has honored his or her skills in a balance of combat and scholarly pursuits. It means that she's emotionally detached and is tasked with guarding the Jedi Order.
Interesting.
Which also makes no sense because there are none.
Yeah, and like, and what you mentioned about like having like what Rian Johnson was trying to do, which was like anybody can be it. The end of the Rise of Skywalker literally spits in the face of that by when that lady says like, well, Rey, what? Like, what's your family name?
Yeah,
or
Skywalker.
Yeah, like. Why are you identifying with these people that you barely know? Like,
it's not only that, is what honor is in the name anymore.
Exactly. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. It really is just, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, you have to, so what it's kind of saying is like, you have to be associated with a name that matters. I mean, not to get too like
a good
into
a
the
good
real world
name is better chosen than good wealth.
Yeah, but like, so what that statement is like, it's better to have a good reputation. Like,
Right, and she already made one for herself.
Yeah.
So why does she need to take someone else?
yeah, I think that to me, now you want to get into like, oh, you're reading too much into stuff. But like in our real world, that is actually a huge deal. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff in the news in Hollywood about nepotism and stuff like that because you're associated with an actor or a director or something. That's why they're getting all these roles. And
Which is starting to break down, by the way, and it's wonderful.
yeah, and then
Love seeing it dismantle.
But even in outside of Hollywood, like that's just I mean, sometimes it's not about how good you are. It's about who you know. And if you know somebody, then you can get privileged positions and privileged just extra stuff that other people don't have access to just because you know somebody. Not because you deserve it, not because you've earned it, but because you know somebody. And I think that's the opposite story that Ryan was trying to tell.
Yeah.
And I think that's what JJ left us with, and that doesn't sit well with me.
JJ's is the classic Hollywood. You have to know somebody to get in, and Rian's is it doesn't matter who you know. If you can prove to somebody you're worth it, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing.
Which is great.
Yeah, I think
Great lesson.
I think we're going to have to do The Last Jedi breakdown as well because we keep referencing it. Because here's the thing.
This is good.
Okay, because it
wasn't great, but it was good.
Yeah, the first movie's a wash because it's a copy and paste. Yeah. Now, these are the last two movies are in direct contrast to each other because they're right next to each other. And they're in conflict with each other, actually. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like Rian Johnson was trying to do something and JJ just took it away because the fans were crying about it.
Rian said, "I'm going to challenge your story," and JJ went,
"How dare you?" That's what he said. But like, think about it, guys. Like, actually think about it. Like, I love so much that I just love so much. I remember watching some reviews and stuff, and I remember in The Last Jedi when Luke was about to burn the Jedi Temple with the Last Jedi books, and then Yoda just shows up and
does it.
He's like, "Do it, bro."
I love that.
He's like, "Do it, bro. You won't? Yeah. I'll do it." And he freaking then
that was such a good moment too.
And he was like, "But the Jedi text." He's like, "Oh yeah, you've read the text
because it matters."
He's like, "You've read the text, have you?" And he was like, "Well, no." And he's like,
"Then what's the point?"
Exactly. And can I tell? So even that has
the wise nihilism is what that was. That was you're pretending that this matters.
Or you're defending something that you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, and I'll make a real world comparison. Like a lot of religions, I'm not pooping on all religions. I'm a religious person. I literally just went to church today. But I'm just saying that, like, I also recognize the hypocrisy in some of the things within my religion as well as others.
Oh, yeah.
And one of those is, you care so much to defend this thing, but you've never even read it. You don't understand it. Yep. And so many people stand up and defend whatever they believe in, no matter what it is, whether it's a religion or not, or just an ideology, political ideology, gender ideology, whatever it is that you believe in, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me that you believe the way that you do sometimes, but what I do care about is in what ways are you choosing to defend your statement? Does it make any sense at all? Mm. And that's what bothers me. And to be honest with you, Yoda, who's like, it's like as Jedi as they come, right? You think, well, he either after he passed or even before that was wise enough to know that, like, look, man, let's be honest. You haven't read these things. You're defending something that you don't know about, that you haven't studied. So, like, why? Who cares? And I love that about that because he's calling out the hypocrisy. Yeah. And he says, look, you haven't even read these books. So whether they're here or not, what does it matter to you? You know what I mean?
You could also make the argument that it also is the why are you so quick to defend something that you don't understand when you would defend yourself?
Yeah.
Is he's had this whole like crisis of self this entire time.
Yeah.
In hiding behind the idea that he is the Jedi at this point, and he's clinging so hard onto that he doesn't know who he is. He tried to kill Kylo at a young age. He brought all of these people up, and for what?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the strength to defend himself and who he is.
a good
until the moment that he does in the Rise of Skywalker. But
well, that's the thing too. That's the cool thing that I liked about The Last Jedi is like a real human experience.
Yeah.
He made some decisions. They went bad, whether it was his fault or not, which it kind of was in some ways. He had to deal with the repercussions of that. The repercussions are, man, he got depressed and he was like, dude, I'm gonna like isolate myself away, which is a real life thing. It's a great commentary on depression and just dealing with failure, personal failures that impact other people, impact the galaxy in his case with the Jedi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to see him in The Last Jedi makes so much sense. But then again, with The Rise of Skywalker, he comes in and just, dude, I was almost, to be honest with you, I was like on the verge of anger almost when I was watching The Rise of Skywalker. And I was wrong. I was like, man, shut up. You were experiencing real life stuff.
yeah,
Like even Mark Hamill, he said like, oh, well, I know Luke and he wouldn't, this is just, okay, look, he's a human, like he's kind of a human being, whatever he is, you know, and wherever he is, you know, you experience these things. He's supposed to be the good guy, right? But we saw that he struggled with the dark. So like the point
there
is,
should be better understanding there.
yeah, should that, hey, this is a normal reaction or response.
You should know better than anybody how to teeter somebody off of that edge.
Yeah, but I mean, even as Mark Hamill looking at his character Luke Skywalker, of course, no matter who you are, you always see yourself in the as best a light as possible.
Oh yeah.
Whether you're what's it called, projecting like, well, you do that, not me, or what you blame shift. We do everything we can to make ourselves look like the best possible person in any given situation where there's conflict. What we fail to recognize is that a lot of times we're creating our own problems.
Yep.
And I think that is exactly what is going on with this. And I think part of it has to do with, I don't know why I'm so like, there's just so many outward things that connect into this. I think that Disney's greed to try to just start making movies and get money off of this
And
franchise
push
they
it
just
out,
bought.
yeah.
We need to start making money off of this thing that we just spend a ton of money on. They're rushed to do that instead of doing it well, just doing it costs them. I think JJ, who maybe is not the most creative guy in the world, maybe he's a good director, but maybe he's not the most creative guy, you know, was just hearing the noise in Reddit and on the internet and wherever there was a platform for people to share their opinions.
Yeah.
And
took way
and
too
just
close
took
to the reins.
Yeah, and just said, okay, well, let's just let's give the fans what they want. And either whether that was just like a middle finger to the fans, it's like, okay, is this what you want? We'll just give it to you and see how you like it. Or he legitimately was like, look, I really want to give the fans what they want. This is what they're asking for, so let me do it.
Yeah.
And he just failed horrendously at it because it was terrible. No matter what it is, I think that Disney and or JJ created their own problems. I think the fans in some ways, even you and me, I think when we first watched it, we're kind of like, that wasn't what I wanted or expected. And we're a little bit disappointed when we first watched The Last Jedi.
Yep.
But we have to realize that like even our own expectations were our downfall, because I don't know about you, I think I can speak for you when I say like, you don't want to just go into a movie and know exactly what's going to happen before you get to the ending. Like maybe you enjoy a movie that's like you and I both were just, you know, just drooling and fawning all over Everything Everywhere All at Once because it was such a unique movie that you couldn't tell what was going to happen. I think everybody maybe
going and not knowing was the best thing to do.
Exactly. And the thing is, even that fake out, which everybody, there's no way, like, when it said the end and it started giving credits, you're like, that's not the end of the movie.
There's
what?
no way, yeah.
But we kind of believed it for a second. We're like, what? That's the end?
Right, and you like make concessions in your head and you're like, I guess it is.
And then you're like,
that's fine.
Yeah. And then,
I guess.
And then it keeps going. You're like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like, it's that kind of stuff that like, I don't know when I got into a conversation with a guy on Reddit about it because he didn't even see The Rise of Skywalker, which good on him. But he said that The Last Jedi ruined it for him. I was like, but why? I said, in my opinion, it's for people who like Star Wars but don't necessarily like movies. Like because if you like movies, then you can appreciate what Rian Johnson was trying to do and what he was setting up and the themes that
exactly. Is he just used Star Wars characters to tell a much more interesting story.
And so that's
with the context of what was going on.
And that's what I told this guy. Obviously, he didn't like that being on Reddit being told that. Well, you
nobody
like
on Reddit likes being told they're wrong.
You don't like movies, bro. Like you just like you like Star Wars, but you don't like movies. I like Star Wars and movies, and I like Star Wars movies for the most part. And this was what he set up was good. There was consequences. Like even I love the fact that he was world building in The Last Jedi. We got to see, like, hey, look, people don't care about right or wrong, just like in our world. Like, they just care about making money, and money's the most important thing. And
that made a lot of sense to me. I was like, yeah, it makes sense that someone's selling to both sides.
And the whole thing, they're like, well, Ray and Rose, or Finn and Rose, they didn't really accomplish anything. And it's just kind of
you're right. Sometimes you do things and it doesn't pan out.
It doesn't pan out, and it doesn't go, and it doesn't,
and nothing changes from it.
It doesn't accomplish the goal that you were seeking. But guess what? What I saw was now Finn has a reason to fight instead of just run.
Right.
Which is literally what he was doing at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
When Rose caught him trying to escape.
Yes.
And now he has a reason to fight alongside Rey instead of running away.
Yeah.
And so that's called character development. And so and one of the most egregious things, and I squeeze my hands in anger about the Rise of Skywalker, is that JJ reduced Finn back to the Force Awakens, where he was just a puppy dog following Rey, just kill her. I mean,
and questioning everything Poe did.
Here's the next drinking game for you guys. If you're gonna watch Rise of Skywalker, take a drink every time that Finn yells Rey.
Make it a light one too.
Yeah, because you're gonna
if
you got to drive anywhere afterwards, do not play the game. You might as
well just let the ambulance sit outside while you're doing it too.
Yeah, be careful. Bad. We don't want anybody to get alcohol poisoning and die from this, because there's a good opportunity that's going to happen if you drink every time that Finn yells Rey in The Rise of Skywalker. But what I'm saying is, like, what I love too is now he, with Rose, if they pursued that, if they grew that could have been something from him, not now for him to fight for. When it was Rey, that it was kind of his thing. Now maybe he has a connection with somebody else in the Resistance, and he doesn't have to be Rey's puppy dog. And maybe Rey and Poe get together. I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe people in movies don't have to get together at all. Maybe they could just be single people, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So maybe Rey doesn't need a love interest at all, or maybe Poe doesn't need a love interest at all.
Oh,
like, you know what I'm saying?
Back to the kiss. You want to know what the kiss is about?
Tell me what the kiss is about. That greasy, weird tasting, unnecessary, uncalled for kiss.
The kiss was put in there because JJ wanted to replicate the same feeling as the Luke and Leia kiss. He said almost verbatim that he wanted a brotherly, sisterly kiss at the end of the movie.
Why? Why would anybody want that?
I didn't say I had a justification for it. I'm just telling you how it is.
I mean,
he went, they kissed. Look, this is the reason they kissed, because I wanted a Luke and Leia moment.
You know, maybe
wanted siblings to kiss each other.
Okay, maybe JJ. I don't want to question his things. Maybe he spends too much time on a particular website with particular kinks, but I'm not going to mention that
too
here.
Much anime.
But I
just watch too much anime.
But
too much sword art online for him.
But either way, that's not a thing that I want to see. I don't want to see a brotherly, sisterly kiss.
No, I'm very not into that as well.
Dude, I remember the person that I was with at the time when we watched it. Even she was just like grossed out by it. She's like, dude, that's not earned. And I agreed with her.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was.
It's not a good surprise.
Oh no. It was Kylo saved Rey.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this kind of makes sense. Mirrors what happened earlier in the movie. And then bam, they kiss. And I went, what? The fuck? And everybody in the theater at the same time was like,
Bro, you know what? So here's the thing, and these are the people. Look, if it's you, please comment. I do want to hear from you. I really do. And even if you don't like this video, feel free to throw a dislike on it. Leave a comment.
Honestly,
but I honestly, It's very interesting to me. I do want to try to understand your mindset because in my movie theater, there were some people that cheered and they were
That's
like happy.
nuts.
And I was just
That's crazy.
I was dumbfounded. I was like, what? Why are you guys happy about this? This is the weirdest. Like I said, Luke and Leia to me was like, okay, it's weird in hindsight because we found out later.
Yeah, but the reason
In
why
the moment
it
it
was weird
happened,
is because they wanted it to be weird.
Yeah, well, yeah,
And they wanted to tell you later how weird it is.
yeah. But in the moment of the kiss, we didn't know that. It was just like, oh, these two guys are kind of competing for the princess girl.
Yeah.
And then later we found out, like, oh, that's weird, bro.
Even Luke was like,
Rightly so. But like this time, like we didn't. It was just weird from the get go. Like it was just weird from the moment they kissed. Because like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. Maybe Kylo just needed someone to love him before he died.
I mean,
But he could have found that in his dad that he killed or his mom that died in space. We're not even going to consider that she's alive in the last movie.
I mean, I'm sure
she died in space.
Dude, I'm sure he killed plenty of Jedi Padawans that were into him. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good looking dude. I mean, we've seen him with the shirt.
Wide.
Very broad, very manly. You know what I mean? Like, his voice in his helmet was like as cool. I would say as cool as Vader's.
I agree.
Almost. I mean, Vader's is more because it's so iconic. But I mean, he sounds great. Like
He does. Kylo, in theory, was a really cool, broken character.
Yeah.
And in reality, he just he got to kiss a girl, and that's all he needed to move on.
That's why he was pulled to the dark side. None
God.
None of the girls he was hitting in the DMs were hitting him back.
That's what it is.
He was left on
Kylo's
red.
an incel.
Oh no, Kylo, we love you, bro. We've got bro love for you.
Yeah, don't worry, brother. You'll find her. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but you'll find her.
Yeah, but definitely it's not Rey. Rey's not the one.
I don't even think Rey knows who she is, to be honest.
She doesn't.
I think both of our main characters, because Kylo's a main character, like very clearly. I don't think either of the main characters had any like actual growth through any of the movies. Kylo struggled between good and bad for a while and ended up choosing good, which is okay, but I don't think there was any like catharsis to his decision.
Right.
And
Rey,
Rey, the entire time was like, "Am I bad?" And then she killed Palpatine, and that was it.
Well, I think that was kind of
That was it.
But again, I think that was kind of the point that Ryan was trying to do in The Last Jedi, was to get her to a point of, I don't have to know them. Like, they didn't care for me enough to keep me. They left me. So I have to force to, and I think, again, it's relatable. There's a lot of us who, like, dude, even I'm not close with my family, my immediate family. Like, I didn't feel at home or included in my family. So I get that. Like, I get those feelings. I think there's a lot of people out there who feel that way and can relate to that, right? Like, I don't know, like, my parents are crappy, or I don't know them, or I don't know my dad, I don't know my mom. Like, you don't necessarily need to know them to have a successful, fulfilling life. You make connections with people in your life now, and you have love and friendships. You can find a mother figure, a father figure, hopefully, who can be there for you and show you and teach you the things you need to know. It doesn't have to be. So that's why I think, like, Rey, like, attached herself to Han and to Luke as potential father figures. Leia as a mother figure, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can find those connections outside of immediate family and to be just as strong. You don't need that. I think that was something that Ryan was trying to set up.
Yeah, and then the third movie could have been
it could have brought her character arc to its finality in a good way, but it didn't. He just regressed.
Well, you could even have the dynamic between the two. You have Kylo, who had a family that
he rejected his family.
And then you have Rey, whose family also rejected her. And you see the difference between how the two were raised. And then you have a great narrative about how the environment that you're raised in directly affects the outcome of your life.
Well, I mean, and that's another thing,
and how you can still overcome it too.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing too, is you don't have to have, because there are people, I think there's too much. Now, does it influence you? Does it impact you? Does it help or hurt? Yes. Like, but there's people that have good, loving, supportive mothers and fathers that choose to go off and do other stuff. They make friends and they ruin their life.
They have everything set up for them, and they choose to not.
And there are people that don't have any of that and live on to be successful members of society, and they help and they're great people. But I would say generally speaking, you see more of the people that do have what Kylo had. They generally have better foundations and stuff like that. But it's not that you can't have those things. It's just a harder.
Yeah,
you know what
it is again. Is you are given what you are given at birth, and you get to decide what you do with it. It's sometimes it'll be harder, sometimes it won't, and that's part of the joy of living is you get to choose.
Yeah, and that's such important parts of the story that could have been used and elaborated on.
Right, is that they both came technically from the same place.
Almost, yeah. Just the dichotomy of differences. And there's so much that could be done there. And it's such a great idea to have two protagonists that are just opposed to each other. That
have a connection.
That have a legitimate connection.
Yes.
Not a romantic one.
Right.
Or a sexual one. Or anything like that.
Yeah,
but they just have... Yeah.
Because my favorite parts of the movies, all of them, was Kylo and Rey talking to each other from a distance. Because you're like, these two very opposing forces understand each other as humans. And that's cool.
Yeah. I've actually had an experience like that with a person. I was like, dude, we'd be best friends if I didn't hate you.
Right.
Or I had a best friend that it was like, if you weren't my best friend, I would hate your freaking guts.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I can see that with Rey and Kylo.
And I loved the idea that when they stood next to each other and actually stood next to each other, what would happen? And that's what we got with fighting Snoke.
Oh, that was so good.
Got what happens is they fight for each other.
Oh man, it was so they were looking out for each other.
Yes, because they understand each other. And then we get back to the fucking Skywalker
Palpatine.
Dude, they fight on a big old Star Cruiser and nothing happens.
The more we talk about this movie, the more that I dislike it because because there's so much there was so much good stuff that was there. So here's how I feel about the movie. Okay, using that same analogy, it had good mom and dad, it had everything laid out to make it a good movie. And whether you like The Last Jedi or not, I argue that The Last Jedi actually set it up for some really cool, really awesome stuff to be the final crescendo we didn't know it at that time. If it was successful, it might not have been the last movie. But since it wasn't, we know it's the last movie. But I'd much rather have left it on such a high note instead of this depressing, literally, this is the lowest ranked Star Wars movie in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
By far. I didn't really like Solo. Some people did. But I ranked Solo above that. Above this one.
It doesn't give you anything to play with. There's no thought to have afterwards. It's just, she's a Rey Skywalker now, living on her home planet, and that's it.
I don't know if I've ever asked the question why about plot, about what I've seen, about the script, when I've been watching the movie, as much as I have why? Literally the first scroll. Why? Why is Palpatine here? Why? Why is...
I remember being about it, too, when I was there. I was like, yeah, you know what? Sure, Palpatine's back. Let's find out what happens.
Why is Hux the spy?
Yeah, true.
that was another thing. Yeah, that was another thing in my friend. He busted out laughing at me when he heard that line. I am the spy. Okay, all right.
Sure, man. Okay, buddy.
Sure, why not? This movie's already going crazy. Sure, Hux is the spy.
The only way it would have been fixed is if somebody else went, yeah, and I'm Kylo Ren. You know? That's what it felt like in the moment.
Yeah, good one. Good one, Hux. Now we kill you. I don't know, but it's just there's so much that could have been done, and it's
there's so much to criticize. Why were only 2 waystones made if Palpatine wanted to be found by the Sith? You know,
what are these wayfinders anyways? That was one of the biggest, dumbest things I've ever heard.
It's a MacGuffin.
It's a MacGuffin, and it's the worst kind. Oh, hey, guess what? Now there's this thing that'll tell us exactly.
Because they're racing to go find them, and then when Rey finds the other one, Kylo goes.
Yeah, you have the gripes about that.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to spend 45 minutes. It's like if you watch any other movie and they're like, we're going to go find, I don't know, the Lost City of Gold, and they find the Lost City of Gold, and then the bad guy just comes over and like rips off the wallpaper and goes, haha, guess what? It doesn't exist.
It was like the Roadrunner painted it while he ran in.
Yeah, quite literally. Is wow, we finally did it. Something could happen. He goes, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. We wasted 45 minutes of time.
Yeah, you want to talk about a waste of time? Like you talk about Finn and Rose's little side mission as a waste of time, but like, dude, what a waste of time that was.
Yeah.
Like, and of course, all of a sudden they have everything they need to still figure it out.
Right.
Like, conveniently.
Yeah. Who cares?
Ridiculous.
Who cares?
No. I mean, yeah. So much dumb stuff. The Wayfinder was one of the dumbest things. As soon as I think when I saw that, I was like, really, a Wayfinder?
The two of them that he plugged multiple audio cables into.
I know. Just hooked him up to his what are they called? Starfighter, and just and all of a sudden
he's blasting Gangsta's Paradise from the Wayfinder on his way to go talk to Papa Palpatine.
Oh my goodness! I mean, look, one thing I don't have any gripes about the new movies is the visuals. I think the visuals are good, but other than that, man,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The visuals were good.
Yeah,
they blew up a planet. That was kind of neat.
I mean, but they've done that before. Show me something I haven't seen. And then it just gets worse because now every Star Destroyer has a freaking planet busting.
Yeah,
who cares?
Who cares about the Death Star? You know, we got 100 of them.
Anyways, I don't know, man. Like, if you like Star Wars, we definitely want to hear from you. Yeah, leave a comment.
Watch a better movie.
Yeah, subscribe. I mean, but I gotta be honest with you. If you haven't seen The Rise of Skywalker, don't. Unless you just want to know like how bad it is and what we've talked about. If you have seen it and you actually like it, I want to hear from you. But I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't understand you one bit. Maybe you could give me some insight as to what I'm missing. I doubt it, but I definitely want to hear you guys in the comments. I know this is going to be because Star Wars is such a beloved franchise. I know that there's going to be some comments and things, and maybe we missed something. Maybe you agree with something we said. Maybe you disagree. I'd love to hear it, man. Like, well, I think we'll do. I don't know when, but we'll do. Yeah, we'll do The Last Jedi. We'll do some of the other Star Wars. I think at some point we'll do all of them for sure.
Here's some good advice for anybody who wants to watch those 3 movies is read a synopsis of episode 7, watch episode 8, and then just make up what happens in episode 9 in your head.
Dude, yeah.
Much better that way.
Yeah, whatever you can think of to the end of Rey, Kylo.
Yeah, it's
and
the world is your oyster.
Yes.
And it should be.
I guarantee you it'll be better than what was actually made.
Yeah.
And it'll save you, but how long is the movie like? 2.5, 3 hours. I don't even know how long Skywalker is. Save yourself the trouble.
I agree.
But again, hey,
Jar Jar Binks comes back to life too.
Oh man,
the Death Speaks.
Death Speaks.
Misa finds Palpatine and suffocates him with his own hands.
I would love that.
Much better ending.
Much better.
Misa the Emperor now.
Yeah, dude. Still a better love story than Rey and Kylo.
True. Yeah, and then Jar Jar kisses Palpatine back to life.
Dude,
they
again so much better.
The galaxy together.
I would watch that a million times over this movie. But
I agree.
But hey, it's kind of. I know that our kind of discussion was kind of all over the place, but that's literally the movie. Yeah. So it's a movie. There's no really rhyme or reason to it. It's just
you don't have to worry about that.
A bunch of stuff thrown into a pot without any rhyme or reason. Where are the stakes at? They don't ever show up. Where's the steak, bro?
It's all sides. And half of it's kale.
Sorry if you love kale, but it's actually
a better side dish.
It's very pokey and scratchy. Why do you even eat that?
Yeah.
The only way you can eat it is by blending it. And anyways, we won't get into a food discussion, but yeah, it's all sides. There's no steaks. There's no main course.
And the waiter needs a shower.
Definitely
real bad.
And you absolutely saw him sweat into your mac and cheese.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
So there's that.
The mac and cheese is Babu Frick. Which is like, it's really good. It's just circumstances that he came about were not great.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, you know, again, it's YouTube. I gotta say it. I'm legally obligated if you're making a YouTube video to ask for likes and
Yeah,
subscriptions.
the
and
new CEO.
comments. Yeah, it's literally in the contract.
It's weird.
So if you had a good time, you know, hearing us rant and rave about this movie we don't like, or you did it, like leave a like, leave a dislike.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Subscribe and leave a comment, because that's honestly what I want the most. Is I love talking about movies. We want to be able to get on and discuss with you your opinions about these movies as well,
And tell you why you're wrong.
or right. And as always, this is Full-Time Movie Fans. We're glad you're here. As always, I hope your day is everything you dream to be and more. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
He's been Jarvis.
Oh, yeah. he's been the other co-host. Hey, Full-Time Movie Fans, thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you had a good time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. We want to hang out and discuss the movie with you. So don't forget to do that below. Have a good one. I hope your day is everything you dreamed to be and more.